Well, the quarterly report is in from CREB. Every 3 months, this report is put out, and they look very, very carefully at the driving forces to real estate, all of the economic factors that influence it, so they can try to predict as well, what might happen in the future. But we also take a really good look at what has happened in the first quarter. The first thing you'll notice is the direct correlation between the interest rates dropping and all of a sudden the demand for housing goes up. So interest rates always play a major role. And of course, right now we have unprecedented low rates, and it totally makes sense if you are renting right now to go and buy a property, because chances are you're going to pay less to the mortgage company than you will to your landlord. And that is a major factor of what's fueling our market at this very moment. Now, even though there's a lot more going on than just interest rates, oil prices are up and there's some job creation going on there. And of course, economically, we are seeing tech companies are moving into Calgary. This is also helping. We're also seeing some people moving here from Ontario and Vancouver. They're cashing out of their expensive houses and coming to Calgary because you can get an affordable house here. So these are all the things going on. But let's just take a look at this chart that I have in front of us that just shows us where we're at in the first quarter. And this is a really good thing to pay attention to. You can get a sense of where the demand is. Now, this is the detached housing market. So you can see it looks very, very different than it did 6 months ago. Everything is in blue. And of course, you can see there's some dark blue as well. Dark blue means we've seen 5% or more of price increases. And you can see the light blue is 3 to 5% on average for price increases. And then even in the city center area, 0 to 3%. So we've got light blue and dark blue right across the board. That's what's happening in Calgary. And you can see right here where the biggest demand is. Good to pay attention to this, because it also tells you we're most likely in the next maybe 12 months or even the next 5 years, where you could potentially see the greatest rate of return depending on what area of the city you would like to own real estate in. Now here we're looking at the semi-detached market. These are attached properties that do not have condo fees. And very interesting looking at this, to go from the fact that there's areas in the north and the southeast that we've seen 5% and more price increases, and then to the west we're still seeing some price decreases in the first 6 months or the first 3 months of this year. So very interesting when you analyze the data. But the good news is we're seeing a lot more blue than we are red, and it's nice to see that coming back. It's nice to see that a lot of those semi-detached houses, even in the inner city, have started to move. And again, all the factors that I just mentioned, interest rates and the economic environment and so on, is fueling this. And there doesn't seem to be any stop to it right now. And I wouldn't be surprised if we look at this chart in 3 months from now, and I'll bet the West even changes from being red to blue. Now, the moment we get into anything with a condo fee, it changes. And this is a really interesting chart now to see that the inner city row housing market with condo fees is in the blue. And then we've got the northwest and the southeast in the red. Completely different than what you saw with the detached housing market. Very, very interesting. But it just goes to show there is a demand for townhouse type or row house. That's what they want to call it now. They want to get us away from using the word townhouse and call it row house. But you can see that the demand, that you're closer to downtown, is there, and people are buying these properties in the first 3 months of this year, and not so much in the northwest and the southeast. But clearly those people tend to be leaning towards either semi-detached or detached houses. So there's the trend. But again, the way this market is going, I still say what I just said previous. I wouldn't be surprised if those red charts or those red areas turn into blue as we get into the next 3 months. Now, the apartment condo market, I've been watching this, just as close of all the other markets, because I have quite a few people that are sitting there waiting to sell. They're waiting for this market to come back and see some price increases, because there are a lot of people that bought condos in 2014 and 2015 that are losing money if they were to sell them to this day. And it's unfortunate for them, and I really feel bad for them, but it is what it is. But for the first time in a long time, we're seeing light blue and blue, and we're starting to see some price increases. And I've often said this, the tide comes in, it lifts all the boats. So clearly the apartment condo sector of the market is nowhere near as strong as the detached housing market sector, but it sure is great to see that we're seeing improvement. And for whatever reason, the Northeast and the South are doing better than other parts of the city. Until we looked at this chart, even I wouldn't have guessed that, because logically, the city center was where the condo market was supposed to be strong. The whole idea, of course, was to buy a condo and walk to everything. And that was the idea of condo living. And that's why they built so many condos downtown. And yet we're seeing a little bit more demand in the Northeast. But overall, it's good to see this. When you're trying to make a decision as to whether this is the right time to sell, or whether this is the right time, or even which area of the city you should buy in, just reach out to me. I have been doing this a long time, so when it comes to every single neighborhood in this city, no matter what you're looking to buy or sell, I can give you some professional advice on it. I'm showing you a broad perspective with these charts. Every single neighborhood and every single property is a little bit different, and you can't put everything just and lump it into what you're seeing here. This is a guideline, remember, just a guideline. There are exceptions to the rule on everything, and that's why having someone that lives and breathes real estate like I do, and I have since 1999, I'm able to give you some insights that you might not recognize, and access to more data to help you make a better decision as to whether this is the right time. So just reach out to me. Hope this chart is helpful, and all the best to you, and we'll see you again next month.